Hello, everybody. I am Patricia Orchiola. I'm a designer and an architect and art director of Casina. Today, we begin the third conversation out of the box. It's going to be with our first woman, and I'm very happy to introduce you, Elena Foster. Elena Foster is a woman that I want to say the quantity of things she did and the quantity of things she does, which are always strongly inspiring me. Elena is a friend from, I will say, more than 15 years. She's a publisher, she's a curator. She founded Ivory Press in the 96, and she specialized in artist book. And in some way exhibitions related to them, sometimes even site-specific. She's the president of the Serpentine Galleries or Serpentine Council in London, and that's I think that is important that we speak a little bit about. I think her relation with Serpentine. She's the member of the Spanish Royal Academy of Arts. Nothing to say. Member of MoMA Council. Art patron and mecenas, as I will say, mecenate, of arts. She worked in radio and she worked in TV. She's been a teacher and we can say professor in Oxford, I think related to art, and professor in Complutense in Madrid, teaching about psychopathologies. She did many other things that is very difficult to me to explain, but I've been always looking the way she was creating her path. That I think is the important thing we are going to share today. And one of the things is that she's been even a producer of documentaries. And one of these documentaries was about Sir Norman Foster, the architect that we all know. And she produced this documental, and at the same time is the wife, and she shares life and family with him, and with her daughter and son. The daughter is helping today us, and they are doing in this moment. They are a little bit isolated, as all of us in this moment. Then I introduce you with all these things, and I didn't say all the things I wanted to say.
You are
Elena Foster.
Well, Patricia, you are as always so generous and so special to me, very close to my heart, and I share with you many values and also fantastic moments.
Sí,
and
sí.
I'm very happy to be with you today.
Sí. Mira, Elena, for example, I think to begin with a person like you, from my point of view, is first we have to break always prejudices.
Absolutely.
A woman like you did a path so complex and so interesting. We are from more or less the same age. We could be sisters, eh? This is a fantastic thing.
Twins.
Then it's important, always, eh? But it's true.
Yeah.
And you, part of this path, arrived at Norman, and then you became even a wife, and you create a family with this incredible man. Then you became even Lady Foster. Happens. Then this exclusivity, which is part of your long path for a long time, is in some way completely different than your character, which is you are inclusive. I know you, and anyone that knows you, you represent a kind of really new way of doing things as women do, because you are, when you were opening, for example, Ivory Press, you were writing something, I love it. You said, I do everything. Then anyone working with me has to do everything. But you have a role, but in some way we have to do everything, everyone. That I think is, perhaps it's woman's power, or is only you that you are magic?
No, I think it's how you grow up, the models that you have around, not only in your own family, in my case, my mother and my father, my family, but also the lack that I have been always surrounded by incredible mentors who teach me to be always down to earth. And in life, sometimes you are up, sometimes you are down. Sometimes you are surrounded by amazing possibilities and success, and sometimes you have terrible failures, and you have to keep it on and going, and sometimes as an automata, no? And
We
I
are
think
now in a
also,
moment.
yeah, yeah, like in this moment, no, and in this
Yes,
last
thinking.
2 months and a half for me have been a period that with two sides. One with an incredible sadness and sorrow and for dear friends who pass away, and at the other, in another way, have been a bliss, because I discover with my family and also with my team in Ivory Press many aspects that the speed of life doesn't allow you to really reflect, and you begin to put the things that are worthy for your life and for your work in the right place. So always terrible moments and sorrow and failures have the positive side that you, as Nietzsche used to say, or you become stronger or you die.
But I know you are saying, we spoke in other occasions, and I know you are speaking about something which is delicate, is interior, but is truth. But you know, we have something with I want to share today with all women. So I want to begin a path of what is for me to think, to rethink rules in
Yeah.
from our point of view. No, you listen to me. Is okay. Then, you know, and I was thinking, we are sharing roots because we come both. She's having, I think, a little problem with the connection.
Yeah,
It's okay?
it's okay. No, what you always saying that.
Don't
I
worry, we
think
are experimental. That is going to be.
Woman, we grow up with mothers like your mother is, or my mother
You met my
was,
mother too.
that they are. I know very well your mother, and you are an spirit image of her, but for the new generation, but the strength that they gave it to us, and the need that you have to be in all the fronts. You have to be able to balance the love for your family and the dedication to your family, and to create a career and to be able to have a team, and also give example to the team that you are able to do everything, since cleaning a table, pour a cafe, or put a water, or give a lecture, or
But you know,
organize an
Elena,
exhibition.
Elena, I know that, you know, which is interesting. You had I think it's your grandfather from your mother's side, Luis, that it was como a person that has been important. Like I giving you an Caballero, that was this other scientific, or this other
Scientist.
professor,
Yeah,
scientist,
professor of psychiatry.
and they were como que always saying to you, you know, get on a battle, and if the battle is not working, move to another one, and to use your vulnerability or your fragility, but to create a kind of a strongness through this, through your control, to play with both things. No, I think, and
you have to play. Or I learned from my, you say, my grandfather, and also Professor Caballero, who was my first mentor when I was 16 in Orense, and was the one who pushed me to go to work during the summer. Meanwhile, my family was in the beach. I used to spend the summers in the psychiatry in a hospital. And I learned a lot, and was the one who told me, you always, everything is possible. If you want to be the best in your profession, or one of the best in your profession, everything is possible if you work hard, if you have determination, if you have curiosity, if you have grit and thirst. And that lessons I keep in my mind and in my heart always, mainly in tough times.
you've been really brave, and we know, Echo, and I
But I
appreciate a
also
lot.
I have been very lucky,
Echo.
because
Well, yes, I
I
think.
have had health, and when I didn't have health, I have the strength to overcome
Okay.
bad
And the
moments.
friends.
and very good friends, and that is a good baggage to go with you. But I think life is a boomerang. Everything you give, good or bad, is back to you. And
It's fundamental.
and when you are, although during this time, I'm sure many of the listeners to this afternoon, they had it this time, like you and me. You have to, in bad times or times of uncertainty, you have to make huge radical decisions, which are extremely tough. And you don't have at that time any point of reference, because it's new. For us, it's completely new. And also what is happening when all this time finishes. But I am completely positive. I come back to read a lot of history, and
we know we read a lot.
And this time is our escape,
impossible reader.
But also is a way to see that in other periods in history, like in the Great Depression or in the Civil War, when the cultural institutions and work like you have or I have had been completely demolished. Our ancestors have the strength to begin again, and even to make it greater. So I think bad times are great, produce great opportunities.
I believe absolutely. I was thinking, well, allora, I met you in London in relation. There was it's not important the first time.
I don't remember when I met.
But it's the important thing. It was. But what I like is that I met you another time. Then I said, when we were part of a jury that was in Asturias. Then with Asturias is where I come from. You come from Orense, I'm from Oviedo, which is a part of our mother country. And when I was thinking, there is a woman that was a philosopher, Spanish philosopher, Maria Zambrano, that always come to my mind, because first she was one award of this Premio Princesa de Asturias, and when I think about you, comes to me a work of her that she was that I love it, and I was discussing with Gianluigi Recuperati that we do a lot of conversation before these talks like this. We can get lost on things associated with persons like you. And we were saying she did a book that I loved when she was a bit aged, and it was about the forest glades. When you are in a forest, and all the philosophical thought was about all the sacred side of others. When you are in a forest and you are in the density and you see a glade, como que el claro en el bosque, they are person that only they cross it, or they other person, they know how to be in the side of it. And they love the sacred light that comes from it. You are a person that you created your path, getting through, as a nomad, not only physical nomad. I think we are both nomadic. We have to be, because the life we are doing for many reasons it is, but it's not that the argument. The argument is you are a real nomadic in the sense of mental way. You move it always through other people that you like, you get, and you in a kind of maternal, I think from paternalist, I think patrons, we are moving to new women that they get on this path and they protect. Then you are in my mind un claro del bosque. Capito? Non, in the way you...
But what I like, Patricia, and you too, is to create bridges. I think that gives you... a go and back constantly. And also I always need to feel free to create new paths. So you have to keep in mind the history, of course. But you
the real nomadic, they are free.
A very peripatetic life. You have to be very without luggage. You have to be free, and you have to look at the future, leave the present and look to the future. to be all the time in the past, the only thing is provoke is to be overwhelmed by what happened that doesn't exist anymore. Doesn't exist.
Doesn't
Even
exist.
if it doesn't exist. The past was past. The only thing that we keep are memories. And we have to keep that memories. This is why I am very interested in archives, why I'm interested in books, because give me the history of others.
Non c'è connessione adesso. I want to know a little bit, because now there is a slow connection. Perhaps we can reorganize this.
Because no,
yes,
no. I said that if you are free of luggage, if you keep in your mind the history of your ancestors,
and you can move from
and also
you can have this nomadic attitude. I think today there is, we are all thinking, the big confusion and saying in this moment of quarantine, and everybody, even for young people, like thinking what's going to be our possibility of being nomadic. That was an argument so interesting. It's going to be left over, it's going to be a disaster. Then I think possibly, the voyage autour de ma chambre, the idea of balancing this nomadic heart, I think is the most important thing, and give the message like that. I think the people, I like it extremely, and I thought they were extremely nomadic. They were people, trying to go through things they like it, and human beings, they like it, and then that was moving them to then that is the only nomadic real argument, I think. Then possibly we have to be less afraid, and we have to be brave in this moment. But I want to speak with you about Ivory Press.
Thank you. It's my love.
And we have to speak about Serpentine, a lot of things.
And Ivory Press is a project that is with me. It's a path that I took almost 25 years ago, and gave me during many years a great joy, hard work, stress, angst, to be at the edge of the cliff sometimes, but overall has been one of the most fascinating adventures that I have in my life.
And you began with Chillida. That my father was when he was a student and was player.
Yeah, I began with Chillida because
my father knew him. Then I like it.
The only artist that knew me well, and was not afraid to collaborate with me, and both of us, we feel very tranquil, very well, and we collaborate for several years.
Yes,
and after when he became ill, his family took over. But for me, that time to go to San Sebastian, where I began to walk in the Plaza de la Concha, because my grandparents live in San Sebastian.
It's a place important for me too.
So for me, San Sebastian, the Basque Country, is part of me. So to come back to begin another path of my life was, I think, very symbolic. And that was my first baby, the book of.
It was a long baby, because it was. I didn't have a team. I was doing a big effort, and then creating a team. Things moved in another way, and you could do much more work.
It was, but I had Bob Sansbury, who advised me behind the scenes, and gave me a lot of self-confidence. And after Chillida, the book was a model and a point of reference for other artists who wanted to do books with me. So that began. But I imagine when people told me, how to begin an enterprise or a publisher house, and because in the beginning you have to do all. You have to not only to find the author. In this case was John Berger and Carlos Fuentes, because they were the two authors that Eduardo Chillida wanted for his book. But also you have to find the right printer, the right paper,
Not easy.
the binder, all these kind of things of the métier. But also you have to sell, because I remember one publisher.
And in a digital world today, especially.
If you don't sell, you will not feel proud. You have to see your books in good collections of institutions or book collectors. And I remember the first time that I sell the first book of Chillida, I sell it with my knees in the floor, because it was not a table to the collector that I was with my carrito, with my trolley, because it was very heavy. And I put the book in the floor, because he told me, I want to see it now and I don't have time, so you see it, show me.
Sit in the floor.
So I put it in the floor, I open all, and just when I saw him, the three parts of the book, he told me, not only I'm going to buy one, I want to acquire 2 editions. So thank you very much.
Fantastic,
I couldn't move, no? But
yes.
But it was the beginning of what now is Ivory Press.
But how many books? Because it's a quantity, it's enormous work. You even don't know the quantity, because I was looking through the catalog, and the quantity of work is immense, because they are the special artist books that I said to everyone, they are special stories. They are something really. They are projects. They are art projects. Other one, all the normal publication. They are so many artists that they worked with you, and the last one I was thinking, women's important, like how you say, Michal Robna?
Michal Robna.
Michal Robna, which is for me an incredible person.
Was spectacular, and everybody can see it through if you go to the YouTube and you put Michal Robna Ivory Press, you can see the book, but also with Maya Lin, with Cristina Iglesias, with many women sitting next. But for me, always has been what Roberto Calasso used to say: what is a good book? A good book is when the editor feels proud of that book.
But it's like in design, it's when the relation is for hands, strongly for hands.
Not only the contents, for me, it's also the container. Is the smell, is the paper, is the way when you touch the cover, the way that is imprinted, is the whole thing. It's like a woman or a man or a baby. It's not only the eyes, it's the smile.
It's a sensorial piece, no? A sensorial object, all the sensorial possibilities, no? C'è un'altra volta sconnessione. And what I think, Elena, we have
but I think that is not the quantities of the books that we publish in Ivory Press, is also the story of each of them,
obviously,
and also the it's like your projects as a designer.
But William Kentridge, I was in the book with that instrument to see three-dimensional of the story. I was in love with that project. I think
William Kentridge
was an incredible,
amazing, but he was very imperative. He told me, I would love to do it with you, but you have to come to Johannesburg and live in my studio.
He does always like this, I know.
And I went to Johannesburg. It was a great experience. And I was living in their own compound, which is his home from childhood, where he grew up, now lives with a wife and grow up their children there. And his studio is next to it, where he does all his work by himself. He has not a team, has a magnificent philosopher who acts also as an assistant and as a financier. For me, was a lesson to work with him. And I live in the top of that studio. And that book is a very special book, because it's not only a labor of love of the drawings, but it's also the technique.
The technique, and
you can see
the whole object
dimension, and is to be in a theater, is to be in his own studio. And also was magnificent to have the opportunity to have him as a Ivory Press Humanitas professor in Oxford, who and gave magnificent courses to the students and a lecture that also Ivory Press published. But and also one artist that you have interviewed, Olafur Eliasson.
I know the window. No, I like the.
He created a Bible of glass and light and color, and is.
There are pages of glass, no?
Yeah.
That they get all transparent, one over the other one, with those holes, and it's very interesting. It's a piece of art.
It has a lot of meaning, and they are
perhaps
a video.
We need the book of hashes of John Baldessari. Ecco.
Yes.
I always when I see a project which is created with a book, I think about you. Ecco.
Baldessari is.
I just say because I connect you with many. When I see, Ivory, we can speak, but I was thinking perhaps I don't want that we lose the time, and I think I'm very interested that. When someone was asking me about my work and thing, and I was saying, I will like to be, and I said to you, adopted by you, because it's but obviously because I think the way I saw you think in different. For example, when you were opening the foundation, the Norman Foster Foundation in Madrid, there was an incredible day for the city, an incredible circumstance. There were. It's not easy to explain how important, interesting, different kind of people were there, and how was a strong mix, no? And but at the same time, I was seeing you in the back, como que in some way taking care of little problems of a friend of me that had a problem, personal, and you were in the same time, you were getting through everything at the same time. Then when I went to the foundation, I was feeling all so many things, and I was seeing the car of Le Corbusier. I am art director in Cassina. Then we are taking care of a part of Le Corbusier and Charlotte Perriand. You published even the book of Charlotte Perriand, and you were the same. It was the book of the month in the year, not published by everybody, but you were in your library, getting on your path. And I was thinking. Elena, even in the foundation, what was for you? What is for you? And tell us something about your relation.
Is the most amazing, attractive, fascinated, full of challenge every day, and not only is to keep the legacy of my husband, of Norman, but mainly is to convey to the new generations the values that Norman has defended in his architecture through research and education, through many think tanks that we organize, and forums, and
I saw you. I saw you in those things.
This year we had organized a big forum for 3,000 people that we had to cancel because of this situation. But the foundation, the important thing is that everybody working in the foundation believes in the project, and every visitor, although it's not a museum, it's not a self-homage to my husband at all.
It's a very active foundation.
It's a foundation devoted to the new generation, to create leaders, and to create the people who in the future are going to decide the future of cities.
Then it will be complex, I think. In this new, sorry, I speak.
And is to defend also an interdisciplinary approach. So in every project, or in every workshop, or think tank, or meetings, or seminars, or public debates, we bring together mathematicians, philosophers, architects, designers, economists, people from artists, people from different different fronts, different disciplines, because all put together a new approach to create the cities of the future, which are not the cities that we are living now. So the foundation, I think, in the 2 years, almost 3 years, 2 years and a half, that was the opening June, so almost 3 years. We are, although we didn't have time to stop and think what we have done, but I feel it, that the influence that we have created in many of the scholars who have been with us, I think has been around 500 during all these years or more, and over thousands of visitors also, and becarios and interns who come from India, from Japan, from China, from America, from Latin America, and spend time there. I think is a great experience for them and also for us. And we have enormous plans in the future to grow. And the foundation is not only in Madrid, it's also in London. And it's also, we have the American friends.
It's important to say that.
Yeah, in London. And in London, we support students in one university, in the Bachelor School. And also we give a traveling scholarship with the RIBA. And now we are going to prepare a new grant for writing and architecture.
Okay.
And drawing, because writing and drawing has been essential for Norman and for his generation. And we don't want that is lost. So we are going to promote this. So that we do it from the foundation in London, and we have also the American friends in America, which is working very well. And
you're doing all those things as making things that they were easy or natural.
But nothing is possible without a great team.
Evident. Sì, però comunque I think I have a path. I saw a lot of people in my life, and I know person that I saw them making easy. For example, you remember me always, Inge Feltrinelli. I didn't met Inge Feltrinelli. Is a woman that was a publisher of Feltrinelli. You met her, no? You met her?
Of my heroes. I had the privilege to become a friend of her. In fact, I published a book, an interview with her in a book that
I know.
Called A Crazy Job. But I spent time with her, not in Italy, but in Germany, through a very close friend who passed away, George Weidenfeld, who introduced me to Inge. And Inge was a force of nature. Inge was, if I told you before that everything is possible, that we will overcome
like you. But there was always possible, the possibility.
You know, I remember to be next to her, just looking at her, listen to her. Always, also, she was very funny, very witty.
Very funny.
Was extremely sympathetic.
Very easy. Making easy things which are not so easy.
Very warm. It was very serious, very tough, and at the same time, extremely warm, sympathetic, with a great memoir. It was a generous soul.
But you know, Elena, we being art director of Casina a few years at the beginning, 3-4 years ago, I had to do the big party for the 90th anniversary of the company, and I wanted to do in an extraordinary new place, and was the Foundation Feltrinelli that was already not open. Then I wanted to get it. It was impossible because they didn't end the works. If it was a building connected with Norman, I would say we will find a way to do it because I know you. I call Inge.
100 will be in a building of Norman.
But you know, I called Inge and I said, Inge, I know it's not ended. Then it's not time to ask it, but I need it. We are gonna do it there. And he said, we are gonna do it. And she was old, was a person with many other arguments to have in her mind, and she found it with a big smile, with making things easy, everything. That I was saying, that legend, that incredible
And
legend,
she
is
created an imperium. She created an
imperium. She's,
imperium. She was a magnificent publisher,
yes.
and she will be in the
Incredible
throne
India.
of
And
history.
then I met her with even with Maldonado, that was my the big mentor of part of my generation, and I had a luck to know. And I
She was
associate you
queen.
with her.
She was
Echo.
an enormous. She was here, there. It was fun, and it's great that she had the idea of the foundation, and
Yes,
now her name will be there
yes,
forever.
yes.
And
But you know,
we her presence always live inside me, and this is the reason I wanted to do that book, A Crazy Job, with the for me with the publishers that were alive at that time, like Robert Silvers,
sí, sí,
that for me was also one of my mentors,
fantástico.
and I said, when in 10 years, in 20 years, the young people have to know how Bob Silvers or Inge cope with the books, how, or with the magazines, or with the critics. So, and Peter Mayer was another one. So
And Gallimard,
Gallimard,
there was
Esther
Gallimard in
Hale,
the interviews there too.
so all of these, and George Bindenfeld, all of these are in that book, A Crazy Job. And now I feel that that was a very good idea, because it's a testament of the publishers of one generation
Fantástico.
that give us a light to continue how we are going, that the digital world is unstoppable, that the new generation and our generation, we have to live with the digital, but the paper, the book, the printing, the craftsman, also
Elena, after this quarantine, things are changing a little. I think we are rethinking, even
changing
a
a
book
lot,
is coming,
a lot,
a little, I want to say a lot, saying a little, it's a little lot, but
a
then
little
it's,
lot.
we know a lot, little, it's obviously, I think things are, and I think it's a moment when books were important to us, to look, any book that you were taking from your bookcase and you were reading, just a little, a phrase had another sense. Then the possibility of the sensorial side, the connective, is an argument that I want that young people put in their aim. We have to still be, really connected with the
You're
different ways
completely right,
to
because
get culture, I think. And
I came back to Tony Judd and the
see,
history of Europe. I came back to T.S. Eliot and the Wasteland, and the
yes,
way, and I opened the first paragraph, and it was April. And that day, I received the news that one friend passed away, and a very close friend of mine. And the beginning, April, is the cruelest month breathing. I read that many times, but never had the meaning that had that night. And I think books, you cannot come back to Kindle, or you cannot come back to the internet. You come back to the book that is already broken and full of stains because of the time and have been in many places, and they are there with you, are the only companions that you have. And for me to reread many of the books that are in this library and in another library over there, at the end of the day or in the beginning of the morning, and come back to Garcia Lorca and come back to Borges, and
I know you love them especially, Echo.
yes, has been for
Well,
me,
they are important for me too, Echo.
has been for me gave me a great serenity that sometimes is needed. It's a kind of melancholy serenity, but it's peaceful.
Well,
And And as you say, books are always with us. And I think we have to to convey to the new generation and to our generation the need to have. I just published one, which is still not in the shops, but it will go. I think when open all this,
Okay.
I think it will be in 1 week or two. We will begin to distribute, which is a selected writings by Berenice Abbott. Was a magnificent photographer, and it's all the writings of her of how to become a good photographer.
Ah, fantastic.
And it's, I read it to do the editing and other things, and I said, how you can read that in the internet or in Kindle is impossible, because you need underwrites and another book, for instance, from a rabbi that I read called The Morality in Our Times by Jonathan Sachs. Changed my life, changed the way to see how I can judge the good and the bad. And that happened just 1 month ago. And because I had the time to read. With calm. I always read, but always a trompicones, not jumping, because in the plane or waiting for somebody or in the morning, but not to say, really solid 3 hours, 4 hours every day.
They gave us the time, Echo. That was
and that
the good side of all these problems we are living now.
Has been a bliss.
But Elena, I want to know a little bit about your relation with Serpentine, because it's another little thing you do, and I'm sure there's another dance thing, your relation with Hans, or is Obrist, and to tell us with the new director, with the woman, which is fantastic. You were speaking with me.
A fabulous human being, a part of being a very solid professional. And Hans Ulrich is the best artist director and an inspiration every day. It's a great privilege to be able to work with him and with Bettina now, and with all the team.
The other two fantastic women.
The Serpentine is small, but it's big. It's small in a team, but it's extremely full of strength. And because we feel everybody together, and we have small bridges between all of us, it's easier to make decisions. It's easier to make quick actions. And also, we don't have in the Serpentine a collection, so we are free for creating exhibitions, and we devoted everything to acts, to actions, and having Hans as a leader has been and it is an enormous stimulation constantly. And all the patrons and the majority of the friends and patrons, they also feel that they are part of the family, because they are not bureaucracy. You see, it's not a big institution. It's how it was a tea house in the past, in the 30s. And step by step become an exhibition space, and then become what the Serpentine is now. And of course, had a great push when my dear late friend Zaha Hadid created the other part of the Serpentine. The pavilion. Was a great life, and we are really craving to open again and be able to be there mainly.
And there is now the exhibition Cambio, from great designers, Forma Fantasma.
Yeah,
and I'm very happy because they are good friends, and it's fantastic thing to share.
They have
a new point of view.
And also, it can be seen in the Serpentine Instagram. Perhaps you have seen it, no?
Obviously.
The interview there,
I think they are the first brave ones that they began to do it.
We have the best bookstore. It's very small, but I
we
go there, and I go out with an immense bag of books, even that I have a bookstore. But it's so well managed by Kunin,
We know.
and the selection is very special and very direct. But the Serpentine is avant-garde institution, solid and full of passion, and with great young curators and a magnificent team, and a great also chairman and board of trustee with Mike Bloomberg, who is very generous, and we have great advisors. So I am I feel blessed to be in the Serpentine, and we work together very easily and very close.
And you, the spaces you are using for even for Ivory Press, and the way in this next future with all the problems, the crisis, what do you think all the spaces for culture, spaces for art, how we will all manage? There is something we can share about this argument.
You mean how can
you know, because we know
overcome? Well,
the future we have in front, which is complex.
Today I sent. I'm very close to the Museo del Prado, and I wrote an essay, a small article for all the friends and the members of the Foundation of Friends of Museo del Prado, and in this moment, the institutions, because the governments will have a difficulty to give funds or extra funds to any one, from theater to cinema to art institutions to another, to writing centers.
Are
the patrons that we have to give a step forward, and are the patrons who have to help. And I was talking today.
Is why I'm speaking with you, because you are a very nice.
No, but I was talking at lunchtime with our children, Norman and I said, how is it is, but how, because the majority of people have not money and have lost all, and they don't have work, or they have just lost everything in investment. How they can help? I said, how they can help? Since €1 to 1 million to 100 million, but €1 sometimes may more, or $1, or everything that you can feel that you do what they did in the civil war in Spain with the art institutions. I remember my grandmother, who used to have amazing jewelry, sold all to give it to an art institution. So everybody have different. For me, I remember my because I saw photos with magnificent jewelry and magnificent. I said, but where it is? Because Mom doesn't have this jewelry. I said, I have to sell it because I wanted to help this and that and that. I sold everything. So he showed me more photos of things that she had. And he was the one who, for the first time, I understood when I was very young, that it's not only about liquidity of money, it's how you can help culture to be able to convey to your children. We are able to go to the Prado and to enjoy the treasures, because
you have to be strongly, Elena. You have to be strongly attracted by the center, by the light of these forest glades, capito. Art, as Zambrano says, I think must be a light. That's something that you want to get in relation. Must be what is important. That I want that at the end, we are now ending and the time is done, for us. But for me, it's important that to understand that for me, to associate my idea of women's, I think I'm searching that in this new period, we are not, they are not, we can give a help in a way which is really in between control and strongness, which is part of us, but with the vulnerability and the easiness from the other side. That is, I think, is a method that I saw in person like you, as I was saying, in other kind of person that I possibly this kind of new patrons, like Capito, are important. I think there should be a reason in my mind that you are a kind of little president of that Comunque the Serpentine one. I think it's very important that the message we give to others, because we can find many ways to be patrons for others, I think.
I think,
And
I believe.
I like Judy Chicago. I wanted to speak to you from Judy Chicago, because another thing.
Hans,
yes,
the Instagram of the Serpentine, did a magnificent.
I want to do another dinner party with all the women,
Chicago, and that everybody can see in the Instagram of the.
Yeah, I saw it, and it's fantastic Instagram, a fantastic conversation. But Judy Chicago, we need to make her come back to us fantastically and to create a new dinner party. She did this incredible triangle table with this. I saw it in Brooklyn, because it's in the museum in Brooklyn, and it's that which is a big conversation. I don't know, about 30 figures of women in the story. They are represented in this work, and she worked with a lot of women to do it. It was women's power from the 70s, and all that thing. When I see it, I said, it's time to come back in a strong way, and we need Judy too. And when I was seeing her,
let's do that party after the summer or before the summer.
But no, we have time. We can keep 1 year the time. We have patience, and we get some relation with other vulnerability. But we are ready for that. For the dinner party with Judy Chicago, with patrons like you, and with people incredible that you met.
You are an inspiration.
I said to you, I get inside your life, inside your private space, into your family, and I say big gran saluto a te, a Norman e ai tuoi figli. Tua figlia che ci ha aiutato a fare la connessione anche.
Sì, grazie,
grazie, stupenda. Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.